Welcome. Herzlich willkommen. Bem-vindos. I'm so glad that you made it here. It's Hudson, and we'll be talking about the experience we summed up around the world. Well, I've been traveling since I'm 6, and this time I've chosen Germany as my living country. The reason why? I will point out now 5 reasons. Let's get started. Firstly, I would say the infrastructure. It's amazing. I mean, if you're talking about Germany, it's a small country that you are able to go from north to south like in 7 hours with a car. So it's quite easy to get around. So if you're in Hamburg, that's up on the north, and you're just gonna go down to München with the car, it will take you most likely like 8 hours and you're gone with the entire country. Don't forget, in Germany there is also the Autobahn. And that's the only place in the world where you're allowed to put as much as your car can go. What does that mean? It means that there is no any kind of control of your speed. Not everywhere, of course, that the police gathers and see where they allow you to do so, but you are able to put as much as you can with your car. I remember when I was at the university and I actually asked my teacher, "Sir, could you tell me why the reason that Germany allows you to go all speed limit?" And he was quite pragmatic, as all the Germans are, and he said, "Well, Hudson, if there is an engineer that is able to build a car that goes like 250 or 280 kilometers, not miles, but we're staying with kilometers, we must have an engineer that is also able to build Autobahn where they are able to put as much as the car built." I was quite surprised because I thought they put some statistics. They would be showing or checking if those streets don't have that much of accidents, and then they'll say, okay, we are able to do so. But no, it's just because of this pragmatic reason. But just to be sure, not everywhere is like this, right? You have speed limits somewhere, but there's also places where they say, no, you can put as much as you can. So the infrastructure is quite nice, and if you compare with the US, it's crazy because only the size, we're already gonna start some huge differences. So done with that, I would like to go to the second point. Look, as a German, I come from Brazil. I usually do like this, but since I've been here since 2009, we do 3 like this. I don't know if you've seen Inglourious Basterds or those movies, but this is very, very German sign. I'll get to that in other videos. But going to the second point, I would talk about safety. I had the opportunity to go to the US once I was 15. It was a huge experience for me to be an exchange student, live in Brazil, where I was born, and just get in touch with a new culture in 2015 that was in America. So if we're talking about Germany, you are able to go around, as I mentioned, quite easily, and also on foot or with the public transportation. And I always see that the main reason that the people do so is because it doesn't happen. I mean, even the kids that go to school in an early age, they usually go on foot or with their own bike. I actually experienced in Aachen, some kids would carry their key on their neck, so they just go after school and they open their home and they go and get inside. The reason why is because their parents have a full-time employment. Now I would like to go to the third point, and this point is a huge impact between America and Germany. But before we get to that, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe and actually leave a like, because that's the reason that we are going through this. We are going to give the experience that we summed up and to see if we help you out. If you have any questions, such as, okay, Hudson, please let me know what's the easiest way to get around, how can I just learn the culture, I would be very, very pleased to help and answer every commentary that is left below. So to the third point, education. As we know, in America, you have the public and high school. We have freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior. I was a senior and I got to choose the classes that I had to take. This also helped me out to get in the university at an earlier age. But in Germany, it's a very different number. Just for you to check the costs, we know how expensive the university school is paid in the US, right? So many people do have to have a loan and go to the bank in order to graduate and then get a job. In Germany, it's crazy because as I had the opportunity to work down here, I still remember at Aachen, at the Rheinische Westfälische Technische Hochschule, crazy, right? This is a German name of the university. It's RWTH from Aachen. Once I get the opportunity to study there, I only paid 236 euro for the semester. And the coolest thing on top of it is that you have an ID that allows you to go to the entire state with bus or train without paying nothing. How crazy is that? I mean, you are now able to go from A to B. You are able to pay a very low price, and now you're able to study. But it is quite a huge challenge to study down here, firstly because of the language. But we'll have another video to talk about this. So if you're paying $236 the semester, if you compare that to the US, I'm truly sure that it will have a bit more cheap than there. Once you do have this diploma or your Master of Science or Master of Arts or whatever you studied here in Germany, the coolest part about it is that you can work everywhere in the world. After that, I would like to get to the fourth point, quality of life. Once the sun is going out there, I mean, the German people really relies on the weather. I usually have as a hobby as a wakeboard, and it's most likely what pleases me the most or makes me very happy. Once I go to the lake, I put in my board, I get there, and I just see how people are enjoying the moment and enjoying the nature and enjoying most likely the weather. I mean, this is very cool because these hobbies do belong to the quality of life, and here in Germany you're allowed to do a lot of different things. So let's say Cologne, you do have wakeboard. Let's say München, you're even able to surf. That is right, you can surf down there because there's a canal which makes some waves and people just go there. I've been there as a tourist and I just asked the guy and he's like, here's my board, you can try it out. And also if you're willing or thinking about, let's say you have a family with kids and you're living somewhere in the world, right? Let's say the US, Brazil, or even somewhere in Asia. And you say, Hudson, I've been thinking about this idea of working abroad and I was thinking about a German company. What would you say? Well, if you are doing so, please leave down the commentaries below. We will get in touch. I will help you out. I've been through this both professional and private, and it will be a pleasure to help you. So just leave your commentary and I'm sure we will get in touch. Summing up this quality of life, doing to the family, I can just assure you that here you have places indoor and outdoor. Of course, outdoor are the most seen with the weather, but you do have some places indoor. And the children, they're just allowed to go everywhere. Because as I mentioned, the safety, I've been many times in a cafe where I just sit there and my children are very early age. Let's say I have a son that is 2 now, and he's just sleeping on his car and nobody would touch. I mean, you can rely on this. And that's quite a good reason to choose here as a place where you can raise your kids and I'm sure they're gonna have some quality of life. And as a last point that I need to mention is the health system. If we do compare that with the US, you know how expensive they need to be paid in order to have this assistance. In Germany, it's totally different. Here, you are obliged to have any sort of health insurance, right? And of course, we all went through Corona, right? This pandemic was just crazy, but that's a part of us now. And I've seen at the news and I was quite proud or even surprised how Germany dealt with this, because we even got people flew in from the Netherlands or from other places in Europe to help them out. In the numbers, which were very high in Germany and both in the entire world, there was also a very good assistance of the medical system that they would go through it and they would try their best to avoid death, right? Which was the worst case scenario of this pandemic. And I mean, I've seen also, as I studied here, as the first time that I had the experience with Germany, that I went to an insurance system and I needed to pay as a student. So I told about the 236 euro for the semester. I paid 73 euro monthly in order to be in this health insurance, which I think is very low. So we're summing up for 300, but the 236 a semester and 73 is actually the month. So that's not a high amount, and that allows you to do any sports or to go everywhere because you will be health insurance covered. So those were the 5 steps. I hope you had a good time. I hope that you actually got something for you as an experience. And please, if you enjoyed this, subscribe. We will keep in touch and I will get to some points that I mentioned through the video. Thank you very much.